Have you ever felt like you are speaking a language that no one else around you understands? You're sitting in a room full of people, yet you feel like you are observing them from behind an invisible glass wall. You notice the tiny details, the subtle shifts in tone, and the patterns that others seem completely blind to. But instead of being invited into the conversation, you notice people pulling away. They look at you with a mix of respect and something that feels a lot like fear. Psychology tells us that being highly intelligent is a rare and beautiful gift, but it often comes with a silent struggle. Your mind moves at a speed that makes others feel left behind, and your depth can sometimes make them feel small. It is not that you are trying to be better than anyone else. It is simply how your brain is wired. Today, we are going to talk about the 18 psychological signs that you are so intelligent it intimidates those around you. More importantly, we will look at Lamb the Now to break down that wall of isolation without dimming the light of your own brilliance. The first sign is that you ask the questions that most people are afraid to think about. While others are content with surface level answers, you have a natural hunger to understand the mechanics beneath the reality. You ask about the why and the how, and you often spot the logical gaps in a popular opinion. This curiosity is a mark of high intellectual depth, but it can make others feel vulnerable. When you ask a deep question, people often feel like they are being tested, even if you are just genuinely curious. They might feel nervous because they cannot answer you quickly, leading to a sense of intellectual insecurity. The second sign is your uncanny ability to notice patterns instantly. Your brain is like a high-powered computer that never stops scanning for connections and trends. Whether it is in a business meeting, a historical event, or even a friend's behavior, you see the dots connecting before anyone else. Psychologists call this pattern recognition, and it is a cornerstone of high-level problem solving. However, for those around you, this can be overwhelming. They might feel like you are playing a game of chess while they are still trying to understand the rules of checkers. Thirdly, you have a habit of speaking with extreme clarity and precision. You choose your words with care because you value truth and want to minimize the risk of misunderstanding. You rarely use filler words or vague language because your thoughts are highly organized. High verbal intelligence is a powerful tool, but it often sets a standard that others feel they cannot meet. When you speak so precisely, people may feel self-conscious about their own messy communication styles. They might feel like they have to measure up just to talk to you, which creates a barrier of intimidation. A fourth clear sign is your deep-seated avoidance of small talk. You find conversations about the weather or celebrity gossip to be mentally draining and ultimately meaningless. You crave depth, philosophical debates, and discussions that actually lead to new insights. Psychology suggests this stems from a high need for mental stimulation and authenticity. But to those who thrive on casual chit-chat, your silence can feel like coldness or judgment. They may think you are being distant when, in reality, you are just waiting for a topic that actually matters. The fifth sign is that you solve problems significantly faster than most people. While a team is still debating the first step of a crisis, you have often already envisioned the entire solution. This high cognitive processing speed allows you to act with an efficiency that is almost startling. But this speed can create an atmosphere of anxiety for those who need more time to process information. They may feel rushed or incompetent by comparison, making your natural talent feel like a threat to their confidence. Sixth, you have a natural tendency to question everything. You do not accept traditions or rules just because they have always existed in society. Your critical thinking skills force you to look for the logic behind every established system. While this leads to innovation, it can be very uncomfortable for people who find safety in the status quo. They might feel like you are attacking their beliefs or their authority, even when you are just seeking the truth. The seventh sign is your incredible memory for the details that others forget. You recall facts, names, and tiny nuances from conversations that happened years ago. This shows a strong working memory and an organized long-term storage system in your mind. But when you bring up these details, people can feel exposed or scrutinized by your observation. They might wonder how much else you have noticed about them, which creates a lingering feeling of unease. Eighth, you genuinely enjoy working alone or in very small, focused groups. You do not need constant feedback, and you certainly do not need external validation to know you are on the right track. Psychologists link this trait to high self-reliance and strong intrinsic motivation. However, in a world that prizes extroversion and constant collaboration, your independence can be mistaken for arrogance. People might think you are unapproachable because you do not need them in the same way they need others. Ninth, you constantly challenge the usual way of doing things to find a better path. You have high cognitive flexibility, meaning you are always looking for a more logical and efficient method. You are the one who asks why a process is so complicated when it could be made simple. To those who are tied to tradition, your revolutionary ideas can feel like an earthquake. They might feel defensive because your logic highlights the flaws in their established habits. The 10th sign is the most difficult to witness. People naturally compare themselves to you. Even if you are the humblest person in the room, your presence acts like a mirror for other people's insecurities. Psychologists call this social comparison, and it happens almost subconsciously in every social setting. People notice your quick wit or your vast knowledge and immediately feel a gap in their own abilities. This is not something you are doing to them, but it is a weight of responsibility you have to carry. 11th, you learn new concepts at a speed that seems impossible to others. You can absorb a new skill or a complex theory in minutes, while others struggle for hours or days. This accelerated learning ability is a hallmark of high intelligence, but it can be frustrating for your peers. They might feel slow or left behind, leading to a silent resentment that they might not even be able to explain. 12th, you see the consequences of actions long before they actually happen. You have a strategic foresight that allows you to predict outcomes based on current trends. You're often several steps ahead in any situation, which makes you incredibly prepared for what is coming. But to those who live only in the present, your warnings can seem like pessimism or overthinking. They may feel intimidated by your ability to see the shadows of the future that they are currently blind to. The 13th sign is your ability to stay remarkably calm under high pressure. When everyone else is panicking, you become more focused, analytical, and composed. Psychology calls this emotional regulation, and it is a vital part of true cognitive leadership. However, your lack of panic can be misinterpreted as a lack of caring or coldness. People might feel anxious around your silence because they cannot understand how you remain so steady in a crisis. 14th, you have a deep reflective nature and you learn from your failures instantly. You do not make the same mistake twice because you analyze every error until you understand its root cause. While others repeat their patterns for years, you adapt and evolve with every single setback. This wisdom makes you seem much older than your years, which can be very intimidating to those your own age. The 15th sign is your heightened perception of small details that others miss entirely. You notice the micro-expressions on a person's face or the slight inconsistency in a story. This makes your insights seem almost psychic or overwhelming to those who are less observant. They might feel like they cannot hide anything from you, which makes them feel judged or watched. 16th, you think in multiple ways at once, using what psychologists call divergent thinking. You can hold two opposing ideas in your head and see the validity in both perspectives. This makes your reasoning complex and sometimes very hard for others to follow. They may struggle to keep up with your mental gymnastics, leading to a sense of intellectual exhaustion. 17th, you have a sharp ability to spot hidden motives and underlying agendas. You can read between the lines and understand why people are truly acting a certain way. While this protects you from manipulation, it can make people feel very uncomfortable around you. No one likes to feel like their secrets are transparent, especially to someone as observant as you. The 18th and final sign is your ability to break down the most complicated ideas into simple terms. Ironically, this is often the most intimidating trait of all to the average person. When you explain a complex subject so simply that anyone can understand it, it highlights your deep mastery. It shows a level of understanding that makes others realize how much they still have to learn. Being highly intelligent is not about being better than anyone else. It is about having a different lens on the world. If you recognize these signs in yourself, please remember that your mind is a rare and precious gift. You do not have to apologize for your brilliance, and you do not have to hide your depth to make others comfortable. However, the most successful intellectuals are those who combine their mind with deep empathy and patience. Use your clarity to help others see the truth, not just to prove that you are right. Use your speed to lift others up, rather than leaving them behind in the shadows. When you lead with kindness, you transform the wall of your intelligence into a bridge of connection. You are not alone in your struggle, and your brilliance is exactly what the world needs right now. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this resonated with you, please share which sign you relate to the most in the comments below. I look forward to hearing your story and your perspective. Until next time, keep seeking the truth and stay kind to yourself.